Welcome to the DISSCHOLARED podcast. My name is Anaya Lewis, and I am the founder and CEO and executive director of the YesSheCan campaign.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Blake. I am the Community Outreach and Engagement Director at the YesSheCan campaign.
Today, our episode is episode 2. We're back. We recorded our first episode in July, and it's now February. So happy Black History Month. And so much has changed since July, and we're very excited to talk about the changes that have been happening in the financial aid world, scholarship award displacement world. Last episode, we talked with Michelle about her journey. And so in this episode, we're going to discuss the road to DISSCHOLARED. So, Blake,
Yes.
do you want to just explain to everyone what the DISSCHOLARED podcast is?
Definitely. So for those of you that are new to our podcast, and again, our podcast is fairly new. So just a brief overview of what our podcast is going to cover. We're going to cover all things about education, college affordability, financial aid, financial wellness, scholarships, and more. As Anaya said, in today's episode, we're going to discuss what led to the creation of DISSCHOLARED, which is an ed tech program and platform powered by the YesSheCan campaign. And we're going to do a deep dive into how DISSCHOLARED is working to dismantle the hidden practice of scholarship award displacement nationwide. So in our last episode, we talked with Michelle about what scholarship award displacement is. And we've learned that scholarship award displacement is one of the root causes contributing to the student loan debt crisis. For those of you that are new or don't know, scholarship award displacement is when one form of a student's financial aid, for example, a private scholarship, external or outside scholarship, replaces another form of a student's financial aid, for example, an institutional scholarship or institutional grant. The private scholarship can also impact a student's federal loan or work study package, depending on the higher institution's private scholarship policy. Each higher institution has its own private scholarship policy. Scholarship award displacement impacts need-based recipients. It's very important to note that higher institutions may still practice scholarship award displacement even if a student does not have an over-award package. Higher institutions may also practice hidden scholarship award displacement when it comes to renewal of scholarships. Therefore, need-based recipients cannot use their private scholarship funds to fund their gap after federal, state, and institutional aid as intended by private scholarship donors, causing many students to have to borrow more money or drop out of college.
Thanks, Blake, for reminding our listeners about scholarship award displacement. So if you're new to this podcast, DISSCHOLARED is an edtech program and platform powered by the YesSheCan campaign that helps students and families understand private scholarship policies and the practice of scholarship award displacement. We use technology, digital content, fashion, research, data, advocacy, and the climb to accomplish this. So I first want to start by sharing my story about how I became a victim of scholarship award displacement with our podcast listeners. So I want to bring everyone back to 2019 when I was a senior at the George Washington University. I won a scholarship from the Taco Bell Foundation, and it was a large scholarship. And you can read about how large that scholarship was on our Forbes article. But when I received the scholarship check, I went to my financial aid department, gave them the scholarship check, and I received an email stating that they will be decreasing my financial aid. And I was really shocked about that because I didn't know what that meant. So they actually told me that they would be eliminating about half of my university scholarship that I received. And then they will also be eliminating my federal work study and that they will be increasing my federal loans. And I had to pay over $15,000 out of pocket. So I asked them, well, okay, how many scholarships do I have to apply to basically eliminate this outstanding balance? And they told me that scholarships will not help me anymore, that I need to stop applying to scholarships, and that I either should get a loan, a private loan, or drop out of college. And I was very upset because I couldn't believe that this was happening. I really thought, and I think everyone thought, that scholarships would decrease your student loan debt. On the FAFSA website, it says that. So I was just doing what I thought was right. And it is right. Applying to scholarships is right, but the practice is wrong. So that night, I told our team member Gabby about my experience, and then she told me that she believes that's happened to her. So we looked over her information, and it happen to her too. So we both became victims of this. So that night we researched on Google, like, what was this practice? And I found out that it was actually called scholarship award displacement. I found out the National Scholarship Providers Association wrote an essay in 2013 about scholarship award displacement. I saw that Maryland passed a law that outlawed scholarship award displacement at the public universities in Maryland. And then that's when I found out about who Michelle was. And I actually emailed her. She emailed me back. We got on a call that week, and she just explained to me how this has been a brutal practice and that she couldn't believe that this happened to me, and encouraged me to, make a change about this issue. So I also want to paint the picture because during this time, our organization launched our new program called the Climb is Our Story, which is a college and career readiness program in Washington, D.C. And we received a grant to start this program with high school students in DC, teaching them how to apply to scholarships, teaching them about applying to college and the career process. And Gabby and I were both the facilitators of this program. Yet we had an outstanding balance, and we had holds on our accounts, and we basically wasn't sure if we were going to graduate. And so we changed our whole curriculum up at the Climb is Our Story program, and basically started to spread awareness about this practice through our program. And we asked the students, we told them about what's happened to us, what should we do? And we wanted to do something more, but we wanted to see if the students also wanted to get involved, and they actually wanted us to do a rally. They said we should do a petition. So I started a petition, and I had like over 1,000 people who signed the petition to outlaw the practice nationwide. We ended up doing a rally in November of that year. And it's so funny because I learned how to get petitions on Capitol Hill. Like, that took a process. But we got our petitions and we were able to have a rally. Blake was there with us. And that was the start of what is now called DISSCHOLARED. And we launched a national campaign to outlaw the practice. And at the time, only one state had outlawed the practice. And while we're sitting here today, 5 states have outlawed the practice. 3 states have current bills, and then 1 state just created a new amendment bill, which is New Jersey, to outlaw scholarship award displacement at all universities in New Jersey. So that was the start of it. It was started as us having an issue. We knew that we didn't want this to happen to other students. And so then we made sure to use our voices to spread awareness about it. So through this process, we also started doing research. That's one thing you always should do. Like, it's an issue and you want to solve something and you want to dismantle the problem, you need to have the research and you need to have the education behind it. And so, I've researched this every day. So did Gabby, and then so did our rest of our team. And we started to research all the different private scholarship policies of the universities, because we knew that this wasn't just a GW problem, it was a United States problem. And we started to see that a lot of these universities weren't transparent about their practices, that they didn't even have, some of these schools didn't even have the policies on their websites. So how would even students be aware of this? And then if they did have it on their websites, it was in PDFs that were dated like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it was just crazy. We couldn't believe it. And so we had this Excel sheet, and we just started putting all the research. Even the students back in 2019 was helping us with it. Many of them are now in college, and actually we've talked to them about it, and they couldn't believe how amazing that we've been able to accomplish so much in these past couple of years. But we then knew that we wanted to continue to spread awareness throughout the country. So we started doing workshops, and then we decided we needed one website, combine everything that we've done, throughout the years. We just need one website, because people were coming to the Yes She Can campaign website. They were learning a little bit about scholarship award displacement, but we didn't have that much on there. So we wanted to be able to just have one website that was a little bit separate from the Yes She Can campaign, that was a little bit accessible for everyone, so they didn't have to go through all our programs to get it. Like, it was just one website, you just enter it in Google and you can get it. So I talked to Asia, who's one of our team members, and told her, like, we need to make this website, like, we need a name. And I was giving her all these names out, and I put this, and then I had Scholared, and she was like, Zanaya, Disscholared. And I was like, oh yeah, like, wow. So she was like just telling me, she's like, you had it right there the whole time, and I didn't even know that because I just had to bring it together. So
Mhm.
that's wonderful why you always should have a team, because they're always gonna help with anything that you may need. So we created the website in July of 2021. The first page of the website was about what scholarship award displacement is, and then we also added a database, and that database basically entailed all the research that we did the past years on that Excel sheet, and we inserted it into the database because we wanted one specific area where people can find out if a school practices scholarship award displacement or not. We didn't want students to be going to trying to find the policy on the website because it was sometimes like hard to find.
Mhm.
And I know, Blake, like with your college experience, when you were applying to college, wasn't it hard to even apply to college? Like it was so much
Yeah,
material.
the process itself
Mhm,
is it's a very intricate process in general. And then on top of that, you have to do your own research about learning about what financial aid is,
mhm,
how to acquire it, making sure that you're making the right financial decisions in the first place. And honestly, I feel like a lot of universities, they have their policies out there and they're not transparent. As you
mhm,
said, they really will beat around the bush about, okay, so what is your scholarship policy?
mhm,
And so, trying to understand what that language is really saying is confusing in itself.
mhm,
And I think that's why the database is very helpful and insightful because it kind of breaks down. You start to see, okay, this is the type of language that they may use when they may be trying to cover up the
mhm.
practice a little bit.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So, what would you say is like some of the language that they might use when they do uphold the practice?
Yes, so it's so much language. It's crazy because I've done a lot of the research on this, and I think some of the language could be, they say, "Oh, a student cannot win scholarships that go over the cost of attendance." That's one
Hmm.
language, which that is a regulation, but it's not the whole picture of the regulation.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean that you have to take away the institutional scholarship. Try to figure out what's the best way that we can make sure that do not be over awarded, right?
Hmm.
So I think that it's this gotcha moment that these schools are doing, which you don't have to do that, which the New Jersey Amendment Bill explains, okay, if they are over the cost of attendance, let's give that scholarship check back to the scholarship provider, allow them to handle it when it comes to that, and then don't take their institutional scholarship and grants. They can keep that.
Hmm.
Like, come on now. Like, it's no need to start taking away stuff just because they got a scholarship. We're seeing a lot of schools are practicing scholarship award displacement, saying you can't get more financial aid than your tuition.
Hmm.
Well, tuition is only part of the picture, right? And there's
Hmm.
so many other fees that you'll have to pay for college. Then some of them say direct costs. Some of them say, oh, you can't get more scholarships than your university scholarship that you already have. So, like, let's say you have a $5,000 scholarship with the university, you can't get a $6,000 scholarship.
Hmm.
So, there's just so many crazy ways of practicing it. And everyone keeps saying it's a federal regulation, and it's not. And we'll talk more about that in this podcast. So that's a little bit about like how Discolored came together. I also want to say that when we were creating Discolored, the website, we were actually reaching out to different companies about having a database, and everyone kept saying no. So we said, let's just do it ourselves. And I think that was the best decision that we made
Hmm.
because we get to one, we've learned so many skills through Discolored. I mean, from fashion, which we've done a lot of that through the Yes You Can campaign in general, but research and policy. I'm a law student. So I have learned so much from when I first started law school to now. And then through Discolored, I've learned so much that I couldn't believe of. The importance of how every word matters, that and, that or, private scholarships, that word matters. It's different than external scholarships.
Hmm.
So it's just been a lot of information and that we've learned throughout this process, and I'm glad that we decided to do it ourselves because we don't have any strings. We can go anywhere. Our board supports us in this educational program and platform, and we're able to share our stories through what happened to us. Some of us were victims, some of us were victims and may still not know that we were victims because these schools, we'll talk more about that, how these schools don't even tell everyone if they're a victim or not. but then we're able to really help other students to make sure they don't become victims of the practice. And I think that's what's very important.
Discovering how the team and yourself, how you all have kind of blossomed it into this database as well. I feel like that really just goes to show how important it is to really assess what the need is whenever you're going through a challenge. Because a lot of times that need that you need is also impacting others. So that's how you can really make an impactful community change so that others don't have to experience what you have experienced or that you all are able to overcome whatever it is. Zanaya, significant kudos to you for sharing your story, and as well to Gabby. Shout out to Gabby because it takes a lot of vulnerability to be open and honest about college career journeys. Like a lot of people don't really talk about their hardships in their college careers. Everyone just kind of knows college is difficult, it's rough. You have to get through it. You have to navigate it, especially when it comes to financial aid. A lot of people just they don't discuss that. And it's really important too because as we're learning, a lot of people are facing this injustice together. Just a little bit about my experience with scholarship award displacement. I personally have not been affected. I didn't even know about this practice until you shared your experience with me when it had happened. And honestly, when you had shared that information with me, it was just heart-wrenching. It just doesn't settle easily with my heart knowing that so many hardworking, dedicated college students are being punished just for seeking out additional funding. Because when you think about it, seeking out those scholarships, it really requires a lot of extensive hours. You're filling out applications, writing essays, possibly reaching out to professors to get recommendations. That's a very heavy task in itself. And in many cases, students are being advised by college advisors and counselors to seek out that additional funding, which definitely causes a gray area and kind of makes it all a little bit more confusing. In my opinion, I think that this practice is highly unfair and unjust to those who have won and earned their hard work for their scholarships. In many ways, it's to me very discriminatory to many students who need the financial assistance to afford to attend their university or college.
And as Blake also said, like a lot of the financial aid departments do not even notify their students if they're victims of scholarship award displacement. And so that's even more disheartening too, because it's that these students are like seeing that their financial aid packages are being updated but don't know why, and they see that they owe a balance. So I
Mhm.
just think that's not even that's misrepresentation, that's inaccurate information. It's a lot. There's a lot of the package in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I would highly suggest that everyone monitor their financial award packages, reach out to their financial aid offices for clarity on what their institution's outside scholarship policy is, and really just keep track of all that information and fight for if they see a change, fighting for that change and seeing if there's any inequality within it and fighting for that, really advocating for themselves.
Yes, I agree. And so we talked about the database story and how the scholar came about. Our database is also one of the most popular pages on our website.
Mm.
And we get so many emails, and also we have like reviews about how it's such a great resource. And we want to continue to keep that free for students and families. Like all of our programs for students and families are free because we believe that, opportunities and resources should not have a price tag. Um, and so when it comes to the research, we talked about the different ways on how a school may practice scholarship award displacement and their policies. But I also want to talk a little bit about the regulation that everyone keeps saying that there's a federal regulation to practice scholarship award displacement. That's not true because if it was a federal regulation for schools to practice scholarship award displacement, then it wouldn't be state laws outlawing it. They give out to financial aid departments, and it gives them guidance on
Mhm.
how they should handle certain, funds, programs, and everything. Well, you don't have to, really listen to that FAFSA handbook because we've seen that some schools don't even practice scholarship award displacement. So the FAFSA handbook just says, if a student is over awarded and you cannot make the change, then you may decrease their student loans that they have, federal loans, or you may decrease any aid that you have direct institutional control of. And we'll also share that language with everyone. So it doesn't tell you to practice scholarship award displacement. It tells you if you have to if something happens and you have to make it the correction, you can make the correction without, penalizing the student. But if it comes to that case that they're over the cost of attendance and you can't do anything else about it, then you go ahead and decrease their federal loans. Now, in that case, that might be a good thing for some people, right? Because if they only have federal loans and that's all the loans that they have, and they are able to pay the outstanding balance after those federal loans are decreased, then that may help them. But again, it's also may also not help them too, because if you're decreasing that federal loans and then they have an outstanding balance, right? And then they can't pay the outstanding balance with money that they have, and they have to go get a private loan, or they may have to drop out. So that's another, still another issue too there, that guidance is not equitable. But then the door to scholarship award displacement, because we also learned that a lot of these financial aid departments were talking with each other about, what is your private scholarship policy? Oh, we do it this way. Okay, we're going to make our private scholarship policy just like this school and that school. And it was the financial aid directors going around and trying to figure out how to, that gotcha moment. So that's the truth of it. So there's no federal law that they have to practice it. Yeah, there is a regulation that or a law stating that you can't have over the cost of attendance. There is a statute that says that, but no, nothing in the statute says that the school should practice scholarship award displacement. So we want to let everyone know about that. So now we talked about the policies, right? The FAFSA handbook. Now we want to talk about the state laws. So there are 5 states that have outlawed scholarship award displacement. We're going to talk about in another podcast the differences of those laws, but you can also visit our website to learn the differences in it because it's very important.
Mhm.
Some of them outlaw at public universities, some of them outlaw at both public and private, but have requirements. So there's a lot in there. But what's also important to note, which we have told families and students this, is that even though these 5 states have laws, doesn't mean that scholarship award displacement is done.
Mhm.
And that means that even if you're in these 5 states, which is Maryland, New Jersey, California, Washington, Pennsylvania, you're in those 5 states, that doesn't mean it's done. We're going to still have to have some oversight on it. Again, there's requirements in these laws, so not everyone is protected. That's why New Jersey just went back and introduced an amendment bill to protect everyone. Because in the beginning, I know Michelle was told that you could only outlaw it at public universities. And so then New Jersey thought that, oh, we can only outlaw it at public universities. But then we saw that Washington went and outlawed it at public and private universities. So then we were like, oh, I think New Jersey can go ahead and do that. So they were able to go ahead and introduce that amendment bill. So that's important. So we just want everyone to know that oversight is key. Continue, even if your school is in this 5 states, there's requirements in those laws. They all are different, and you just have to have oversight and just pay attention. Congressman Andy Kim and Congressman Mike Kelly introduced a federal bill in 2021 called the Helping Students Plan for College Act. That bill addresses scholarship award displacement nationwide. And so we will talk a little bit more about that bill too in our upcoming podcast episodes. But that's the first bill to ever address scholarship award displacement throughout the country. Blake, do you want to talk a little bit more about our volunteer opportunities at Discovered?
Yeah, so for those of you that might be wanting to get more involved in helping us dismantle this practice, we highly encourage you all to volunteer with us. We genuinely value the time and efforts of our volunteers, and we have several volunteer opportunities depending on your time commitment and your skills. It's great because all of our volunteers are able to receive community service hours. And currently, right now, all of our volunteer opportunities are virtual, which I think is a plus because you can help out no matter your geographic location or your time that you have. So right now, our volunteers can participate at our Discolor virtual clinics, where they get to learn about scholarship award displacement, learn how to research as well as conduct research, use their passions to spread awareness through social impact work or even fashion, as Nye has stated earlier. With Discolored, we also host clinics with schools, organizations, corporations, and foundations where we facilitate a scholarship award displacement training. And in addition to facilitating that we also facilitate impact workshops where participants also can learn how to use their passions to spread awareness about scholarship award displacement. For more information about booking a clinic with us, please visit our website, www.discholar.org, to learn more about that. For our next upcoming virtual clinics, they'll be from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Our upcoming ones are Saturday, February 18th, 2023, Saturday, March 11th, Saturday, April 1st, and Saturday, June 24th, which will actually be from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have flex volunteer opportunities where volunteers can select their schedules to complete their work as either a data analyst, a researcher, fashion designer, or content creator. We do host volunteer orientations once per month, and more information will be provided once you complete the application process. But to me, the flex volunteer opportunities are really cool and excellent for people who want to be involved but need more flexible accommodations with their schedule.
Great. Thank you, Blake, for explaining our volunteer opportunities. It's just a great experience for people, and so many people have been able to use the tools that they've learned from this to spread awareness, but also use a lot of the tools they learned to apply to different jobs and get jobs in
Mhm.
tech. So that's important. And so we also have events and membership programs. So we host workshops virtually and in person to different schools, organizations, scholarship providers, anyone you
Mhm.
can think of. So you can also check out our workshops. We have virtual workshops that we really do. We focus that a lot on that. And you can go on our website. We have a couple coming up. We have workshops once a month depending on our schedule. So, and the workshops are free for students and families, and then any professionals, organizations, or scholarship providers will have to pay a fee. But we just had a conference in January called "Stop Snatching Our Scholarships,"
Yes, that
and
was so much fun.
yes,
I love that.
it was, and I love the name. But it was a great experience, which
Mhm.
inspired us to have more events because people were like, "We wanna have more of these. This is great." I think what was really cool that a lot of the volunteers and participants were able to participate in different workshops that really ignited their passion.
Mhm.
And whether that was designing fashion products, whether that was doing research, whether that was analyzing data, whether that was just, like, sharing your story, it was a great, great, great conference, and so we are gonna host more of those type of conferences in the coming months, so please be on the lookout. And then we have a membership program, and this is really cool. We opened this in July, and this focuses more on the professionals in the world, people who have organizations, people who have scholarship funds or who are scholarship providers, people who are independent consultants and help students apply to college and scholarships. This is a platform for you where you can get a lot of more additional resources at your fingertips about scholarship award displacement. So we have courses. We just launched a new course on our membership platform called How to Prevent Scholarship Award Displacement as a Scholarship Provider. And there are many courses too, so they're not long and it just gets to the point. And I think that's important. And then we also have like PDFs. We also have discounts too. So like if you become a gold member, you do not have to pay for any of the events and conferences that we have throughout your subscription. So we think that's really cool. And then all the funds go towards our Discovered platform to keep it running. The website's costs, events costs, Zoom costs. So it's important that we want to keep this resource free for students and families, and you are helping that if you become a member. So it's a great cause. Then we launched our new service called the Scholar Consulting. We just launched that this week, and our organization and team are the leading experts in scholarship award displacement. So that's why we created this consulting service, and we've been able to share our stories of becoming victims. And now we've been able to use that to help other entities navigate this practice. So, our consulting services aim to help high schools, nonprofit organizations, foundations, scholarship providers, and government entities understand the practice of scholarship award displacement. We aim to ensure that every client has the tools, policies, and procedures in place to protect their students. And again, we believe that no student should be penalized for earning a private scholarship. So if you want to learn more about our consulting services, you can visit our website. What do we hope to accomplish in 2023 with Discolored?
My hopes for Discolored is just spreading awareness in 2023, and just getting the word out so that families and students can really educate themselves and really navigate the college application and financial aid process to their best ability and leverage. One of the major takeaways from my college experience was learning the importance of and how to advocate for myself. And I strongly want to encourage others to do the same. Advocating and fighting for those extra points or any grades that really model your hard work and effort, go after it. Advocate for your voice in the classroom. Make sure that you're heard, and advocate for any injustices that you may witness being practiced or built into your community's culture. Our voices are very powerful, and I believe that we must use them to implement positive community changes. And again, Zanaya's experience and how she turned it into Discolored, it really, really exemplifies that. So again, thank you, Zanaya, for using your passions to help others.
And thank you so much, Blake, for all your support with the Discolored podcast. Like, you are the person who really brought this to life. So I just want to thank you for that. And you've been a part of this organization from the very beginning. And important lesson I hope everyone learned is that when you go through obstacles, having that community and supporting community will really help you get through those obstacles. And I had a supportive community with Blake, Gabby, Asia, and the rest of the YesSheCanCampaign and DISSCHOLARED team. And my hopes in 2023 is just like what Blake said. Like, I really, really hope that we can get this practice dismantled. But if we cannot, at least we can address it. We can spread awareness about it. And everybody that we do a workshop with, anyone that goes on our website, will be able to have the tools and the resources to navigate this practice while we're continuing to try to get this practice dismantled. But I also want everyone to believe in their ability to bring about change. I think President Obama said this in 2017 in his farewell speech. You can make a change in your community, and we are here to help. So thank everyone so much for listening to today's podcast. And you can follow Discolored on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. And to learn more about how you can help save student scholarships, visit www.discolored.org.
Thank you, Zanaya. So everyone, stay tuned for our next episode. Don't forget to let us know what content you all want to hear, and stay tuned and join the climb.